Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter. And by First National Bank. Find a branch or ATM near you at fnb-online.com.
From the pocket, looks down the field to Theon Kane, and he collects it for a Clemson touchdown. Clemson in the pocket, shoots it downfield for Kane again, who makes a diving catch for a touchdown. And taking a shot, losing the ball. Clemson's got it. Watson kicks it, pitches it across the middle. Touchdown, Williams. Forsyth out of the backfield, didn't see him and throws a pick. Slant, Scott. Fight spring and walks in. A 1-2 punch from the Tigers.
2016 Clemson versus Florida State down in Tallahassee. 2016 had already been a wild year for the Tigers. They had the close win over Auburn to start the season, the legendary victory over Louisville and Lamar Jackson, and another close escape game against NC State just 2 weeks previously. Special thanks to a missed late field goal late in that game. Also, it's at Doak Campbell Stadium. Tigers hadn't won here in 10 years, one of the toughest places to win in the country. So you put all that together, and this had the makings of a classic before it even kicked off.
The Tigers come into Florida State in 2016 with a 7-0 record, but they had a lot of close games, none closer than the previous week when the Tigers won in overtime against NC State 24-17. So now the Tigers go to Tallahassee, ranked third in the nation, and Florida State is ranked 12th. And of course, every year, whoever won this game was going to win the Atlantic Division and probably win the ACC championship.
So it's the Florida State game, a big-time game. They're ranked number 12, we're ranked number 3. And we know that Florida State is just such a historic program, and it was an away game. We're going to have to go down to Florida State. And so the energy was real high, and as a defender, we just had one guy on our mind, and that was Dalvin Cook.
So this was billed as Clemson's passing game with Deshaun Watson against Florida State's rushing game with Dalvin Cook, who has gone on, obviously, to a great professional career.
In a lot of these games, I remember ideas, like states of mind I was in. The 2016 Florida State state of mind is, we're really not going to stop Dalvin Cook tonight, are we? That's legitimately it. We're not stopping Dalvin Cook. So if Florida State had the ball with the lead late, you felt like it was over.
I remember going to see the game, and Dabo called me on my way there and said he wanted me to speak at the chapel service. So I said, sure. So I got there, and now I'm speaking to the team. And I talked about Jesus sleeping during the storm and that he was more powerful than the storm. And I talked to the guys about being more powerful during the storm. I said, you're going to face a storm tonight. There will be a storm. You will have to overcome adversity. The crowd is going to be really loud. You will have to overcome that. There will be adversity. There will be challenges. You're going to have to overcome all of it to win this game. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. The crowd was crazy.
So the Florida State crowd is one of a kind, and we tried our best to prepare for that during the week. They had the old chant, the Seminole chant going on all practice, because that's how it is in the stadium. It's just them doing that nonstop. But until you go into Doak Campbell Stadium and you see all them fans doing that, and you hear that chant going on, it's a crazy sight. Can be intimidating, but it's just it was cool for me to see. But it's definitely like, okay, yeah, you're walking to a big time stadium.
This was a game where Clemson and Dabo Swinney, as he looked at this program, it's like, okay, if we're going to be a premier program that year in and year out is going to play for a national championship, these are the games we got to go win on the road against a 12th ranked team in the country in Florida State, who, you know, before Clemson started the run in 15, had owned the ACC again, won 3 straight titles before 2015. And so this was the game for Clemson. And I think Dabo and his players were putting everything into it because they knew they had to win this one.
This is 2016 now. This is a year Clemson's coming off of an appearance in the national championship game. Clemson's in the top 5 in the country, and they're going to a place that hadn't been very good for them. They're also going to face the program that is used to being in the seat that Clemson is now sitting in. So there was all of that buildup going into this.
Founders Federal Credit Union is your credit union. We are devoted to serving you through good and bad, and through highs and lows. We are committed to standing by you, our members, our communities, our family. Together, we can persevere through these times. We are your credit union, and we are here for you. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union.
I remember when I was a little girl and maybe I had a tough day at school. I'd go up the stairs to my room and turn on some music because I knew that the music would make me feel a certain way. And with the help of my life scholarship, I was able to major in music performance and bring that healing quality to others. And I get to help them find whatever it is that they're looking for. I get to be a part of that.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with Zero Contact Service.
So in 2016, this Florida State team was an enigma. They were a preseason top 5 team because they were loaded with talent. And remember, they just recently won a national championship in 2013, but they had been thumped by Louisville on the road and beaten at home by North Carolina this season. But this is Florida State, this is Doak Campbell Stadium, and Clemson hasn't had much success over the years in Tallahassee, but you wouldn't know that how this game started.
This is a Clemson football team that going into this game against Florida State was used to winning on the road. And I think that was big. It helped Clemson get off to the good start in the first quarter in Tallahassee.
So the Tigers got off to a great start, taking a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Jordan Leggett caught a pass that got the Tigers down close to the goal line, and then Gallman scored on a 1-yard run to culminate Clemson's first possession of the game.
41-yard catch and run sets up the Tigers' first and goal. Gallman barrels ahead and breaks the play. And Clemson takes the opening kickoff and marches 68 yards.
Right off the bat, they get the football. I think Clemson won the toss, if I'm not mistaken. They take the ball and go right down the field and score a touchdown and made it look easy. I mean, it's 7-0. Then they get the ball back again and then go right back down the field like clockwork.
And Clemson came right back and scored again when Hunter Renfrow caught a touchdown pass from Deshaun Watson. Nice catch on the right side of the end zone.
Tigers playing fast. On first and goal, Watson lofts it to Renfrow for a touchdown. 2 drives, 2 scores.
And so now all of a sudden, you're up 14-0 and 15 minutes has not gone off the clock as of yet. You're feeling pretty comfortable about yourself.
So Clemson's up 14-0 and everything's looking great with the world.
In 2016, it was like Clemson found its comfort zone when they were down. But in this game, it was the opposite, where they were the aggressor and you're looking around like, okay, like we hadn't done this in a while. This is great, You got a double-digit advantage, right from the jump.
Yeah, so first quarter we're up 14-0, but that's just a little too early to start feeling like, oh, yeah, we got this one. Because, they scored and it's just a one-score game. So for us, 14-0 wasn't the point where we could kind of relax because, again, they had great players on the offensive side of the ball.
Francois completed a few good passes, especially over the middle. Dalvin Cook had some good runs. And Florida State scored 2 touchdowns in the second quarter.
Those are playing quick here. It's 2nd and 3 after all that excitement. Cook's got it again, holds on to it, and barrels in for a touchdown. Dalvin dodges a turnover and then reaches the end zone.
It's 17-7 still in the second quarter, so you're still leading by 10. But Florida State does have the ball there at the end of the second quarter with an opportunity to drive, and at least, all right, you're thinking, could they drive for 3? Certainly they're not going to drive and get 7, but that's exactly what they do. They had not done that at all in the second quarter, shown the ability to drive against the Clemson defense.
With those 2 timeouts as Francois fires to the end zone. Incomplete.
Ball is thrown. Now it's a matter of where is that left foot. Right toe, maybe. Yeah, that may be a touchdown.
After further review, the receiver maintained possession. Touchdown.
When Francois hits that pass with 23 seconds left in the half, that's when I think a little bit of a red flag goes up for you in the back of your mind. If you're a Clemson fan, you're thinking, oh no, we're only up 3. We should be up by more. This is not a good sign. So now Florida State's feeling pretty good about themselves going to halftime, down only 3, 17-14.
While the Tigers' fast start in the first quarter cooled off and we really started to see what type of player Dalvin Cook was, it was evident, though, that Clemson's talent level was just as good as Florida State's. But going into halftime, the question for Dabo Swinney and Brent Venables was, could the Tigers stop FSU from having a big run in the second half that would allow the fans at Doak Campbell Stadium to really get back into the game?
This segment was brought to you by First National Bank, helping businesses and individuals achieve their financial goals.
We're behind people rising to the challenge and neighbors looking after neighbors. We're behind small businesses with big ideas and struggling companies looking towards tomorrow. At First National Bank, we're behind every part of our community. We're working around the clock to ensure you have all the financial guidance and resources you need. And no matter what the future holds, you'll find us right where we've always been, behind you all the way.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Make the days count. Gatorade has carbs to fuel and electrolytes to help replenish, so you can count on the proven formula. Nothing beats Gatorade.
Clemson had shown in the first half, leading 17-14, that they weren't going to be intimidated by FSU. They weren't going to let the crowd take them out of their game, even though they hadn't won in Tallahassee in 10 years. But in the second half, they were really going to have to prove that they wouldn't back down.
So the third quarter was basically the Dalvin Cook show. If he went from the 25th pick of the draft, he probably moved up to the 14th pick of the draft on just this one quarter alone. First, he went 43 yards for a touchdown, and then he had a 70-yard run for a touchdown in which he showed his great speed going around the end and was streaking down the sidelines to score.
First down, Cook bounces it, gets the edge, Dalvin Cook down the sidelines, headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Seminoles.
Clemson, again, still struggling a little bit. Now they kind of shaking a little bit, got punched in the mouth. How they respond? They didn't respond well. They end up giving the ball right back to Florida State. And then there goes Cook 70 yards down the near sideline for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, Clemson's down 8 points in a game that they were controlling.
As a defender, or for me, I would much rather tackle some guy that's 240 and 6'2", and he's just a Derrick Henry, than to tackle Dalvin Cook. Because for me, tackling is tackling. It's just football. Throw your body into him, get the man down. When you got somebody that you can't catch, you don't really have too much of a shot.
The Tigers, all they could get in this third quarter was a field goal, so the Seminoles had a 28-20 lead going into the final quarter.
And the building is literally almost shaking because Clemson is undefeated. Seminole fans are thinking, we're making our comeback. We're back.
So it's 28-20 going into the fourth quarter. So it's kind of time for Deshaun Watson to get the guys fired up, and he did, as Clemson scored the first 9 points of the fourth quarter.
Career reception sets the Tigers up at first and goal. Dahlman tried to lead in second effort. Spotted short.
After further review, the player broke the goal line. Touchdown.
But unfortunately for Clemson, Dalvin Cook was not done. He would end this game with 4 touchdowns, and that fourth touchdown came late in the game with about 5 minutes to go on an 8-yard run.
Subway is back in the game, 1st and goal. Cook. Scores, standing up, Knowles reclaim the lead.
So Cook scores his 4th touchdown of the game with 3:23 to go, which, as all Clemson fans will tell you, that was plenty of time for Deshaun Watson. And as he did so many times, he delivered.
He drives them in 1 minute and 17 seconds for a touchdown. He hits Jordan Leggett right side. Jordan takes the ball, goes down the sideline, dives over a would-be tackler about 4 yards into the end zone, uses that left arm to keep himself elevated and gets into the end zone.
Fires to a wide open man, a complete bust, and Leggett dives to the pylon. Touchdown, Clemson.
So now, again, I believe maybe like a minute left in the game, the defense has to come back on the field, and now we got to get a stop. And Coach Venables, he called one of our favorite blitzes, bringing both the linebackers. I think I went first. I cleared it up. Ben Board comes through flying crazy.
Kendall goes first and it just kind of gives his body up and just plugs a hole, and I wrap around, and luckily I came free.
Immediately pressured again. Boulware will end the Seminoles' chances and secure Clemson victory.
I remembered I had to, because their fans were just running their mouth all through the week. The players were too, so I got the sack, sealed the game. I made sure I ran all the way to the student section right in front of them and turned around and just pointed to my last name. I wanted them to know who I was, that I sealed the game for them, because they were just running their mouth all week. So ran 30 yards, totally out of my way, and just pointed to my last name.
And one of the great scenes that I remember from Ben Boulware is as he's coming off the sack, he just starts pointing to that name on the back of his jersey, saying, "I've made my impact and I've led my team to victory."
Francois, the 4th down, when he gets sacked, it was really, that was the end of Florida State in the national conversation.
Brent Venables and his defense seemed to have this mindset of almost bend but don't break, and this game was the epitome of that. Yes, Dalvin Cook had a monster game rushing, and Florida State had playmakers making plays all over the field, but when the defense had to make it stop, when it mattered the most, they did just that, and there's no doubt that this win helped build confidence for the final run in 2016.
This segment was brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with zero contact service.
So, what makes your house a home?
Sitting on the front porch, relaxing at the end of the day.
Hands down, my wife's spaghetti.
A sense of security.
I'd say making it my own.
Playing with my son, definitely.
For whatever makes your house a home, we're here to protect it.
America, we want to help get you back to it. And here's how, with the Ford Promise. Visit your Ford dealer. Finance a new, certified pre-owned or used vehicle through Ford Credit, and if you lose your job, you can return it for up to 1 year from the day you bought it. You can also get 0% APR financing for 72 months across the Ford lineup. Let us help get you back to it. Contact your Carolina Ford dealer today for great offers including 0% APR financing for 72 months across the Ford lineup.
So the Tigers hold on to win another nail-biter, 37-34 your final. Deshaun Watson versus Dalvin Cook lives up to the billing. Both of those players with just incredible performances, a great defensive stop to end the game as well, pretty much clinching the ACC Atlantic for the Tigers and leaving all of their goals in front of them for the season.
A big sigh of relief. They finally did it. They went to Tallahassee and won the game. They won a big game on the road. If I'm not mistaken, that's the last game Florida State lost that year. They went on to win, go 10-3 and finish in the top 10 themselves. So that was a really good Florida State football team. And Dalvin Cook was probably the best running back I've ever seen in the ACC, hands down. I mean, that guy was just unbelievable. I mean, if he stayed all 4 years, he would have set records that I don't think would ever been broken in the ACC.
Deshaun Watson was actually really at his best when it came to these scenarios, and he was able just to kind of take control of the team and get themselves going. And then defensively was the other side of the picture. Everybody always talks about the offense. I dig it. Chicks love the long ball. Chicks dig touchdowns. I get it. But defensively, what Clemson was able to do, what Brent Venables was able to do in that fourth quarter was, in my mind, what really led him to victory.
With Deshaun, this was sort of the moment that kind of told you what kind of quarterback he was. We've seen signs of it. We all kind of knew Deshaun was that guy. He had shown signs of it many times in his career. But, on the road against Florida State, a place that you haven't had a lot of success against, or at, I should say, to go on the road, the game's on the line, and you got to go score a touchdown. You got to drive the ball the length of the field. It kind of was a precursor to what we were going to see at the end of the year. Actually, it was going the same direction, and it was in the same end zone, the same side of the end zone. Now, it wasn't as maybe dramatic in the last second as we saw in the national championship game, but it kind of set the tone for what I think everybody in the country saw, that when Clemson got that ball back late in the national championship game, because of what he did that night in Tallahassee, people knew Clemson was going to win that football game that night.
This team, they're trying to lose these games, and they just can't. There's something about them. They can't lose. And that was a cool part of that game, is because you actually felt like they were the team that most deserved to win the game, and Clemson was like, nope, not today. We're getting this. We're handling our business.
Just incredible to watch the win, to be a part of it, and to see them come back from adversity. And that's really where that championship team was born. I really believe that night, facing that adversity on the road to win that game, huge.
That 2016 team, I think, beat two teams where the other team had the best player on the field, Dalvin Cook that night and Lamar Jackson. And that was also a team, they won the national championship. They were dancing in the flames.
And that was a big-time game. Again, we're just kind of breaking the narrative, breaking the trends. We hadn't won down there in 10 years, and so we kind of got that off our back. We got that curse off our back, and we were just rolling, man. That was a big-time win in Doak Campbell Stadium, and that gave us a lot of confidence moving forward.
The victory for Clemson, I think meant a ton. One, it keeps them undefeated, so it keeps them in the national championship talk, the playoff talk from that standpoint. But it also, in my mind, served as kind of a volley to the rest of the league. Hey, we're the team to be dealt with now in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You may think that it's somebody else, but no, sir. We're still going to be the team that you have to deal with if you want the trophy and you want the ring.
An incredible win for the Tigers, and Clemson and Deshaun Watson getting the ball late in this ball game, having to go all the way down the field and score a touchdown to win it. I think that gave this team a lot of confidence, and they had to call back on what they did in this game in the national championship game against Alabama, where they got the ball late in the game with Deshaun Watson and had to go down and score a touchdown to win the national title. And that's why this is one of Clemson's greatest games.
Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter. And by First National Bank. Find a branch or ATM near you at fnb-online.com.